Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
All right, mic check, mic check, 1 2, mic check. Certainly, what's going on, people? Shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to everybody that will be here later on and listening. And again, this is just a little. I just kind of threw this together on a whim. Wanted to just do a little Friday night action. Hadn't done a Friday show in a while, so I also want to thank the Hulk. I see you in the chat for the $10 super chat last show. I think I was signing off and I can't remember if I thanked you for it or not. So I wanted to thank you for it now in person. So really hope you're doing all right. Shout out to everybody again this here. Like I said, we won't be here long. It's Friday night. I got to work in the morning. It's already going on 7. So, and I have to be at, I'm at work at 6:30 in the morning. So, that's 12 hours from now. It's 6:45 in the morning. I will be at work. So tomorrow. But shout out to everybody that's here right now. So give yourself a round of applause. Jeff B Gaming, Corey Massey, always a pleasure. Sam Ash, how you doing? Gaming Night, how you doing? Harry Tran and the Hulk, what's happening? What is happening? So yeah, we'll start. Like I said, this is more of an infomercial. As you can see, I played a little Mass Effect today. So that's what I played today. Certainly hope if you all had the day off that you all got some gaming in. Hopefully you all get some gaming in. And for me, yeah, I'll be winding it down here pretty soon, watching a little bit of the girls' Final Four and probably falling asleep while I'm watching that. But big shout out to everybody. As you can see, this got a few topics here. One is the E3 2022 being canceled. I'm not even going to put that up on the screen. I think everybody knows that it will be back next year. It was too late in the year to get it going, and realistically, the only people that are going to be there next year apparently is they're breaking it more into individual shows next year. So expect it to be Microsoft to have a presence there next year because they should have Starfield out by then. Hopefully we'll have some news on Fable, and we'll have some other, we'll have news on Fable and a couple other games. Forza Motorsports, hopefully we get some information on that. Maybe that shows. I mean, I'm hearing that's supposed to come out this year as well. Have to wait and see. If it does, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm really hoping Microsoft does what they're supposed to do and link up with Meta, Facebook, and allow Oculus to be on their Xbox Series X only, is what I've been told, that they're going to make a big announcement on that here by the end of the year. So hopefully they do that, because I do think that their fan base should have access to VR. They may never buy one, but the racing games would be cool in it. The flight sim game. Can you imagine playing Starfield with VR? I mean, that's just, you got to look at that, folks. So hopefully they decide to do that. But if you don't know, E3, and that's when I was watching gaming and things like that, E3 was the place to go. I would take off. Yes, I was that guy. I would take off on Monday, Tuesday, and on Monday and Tuesday, because back when I watched E3, back when I watched it, it was a long time ago. We had electricity. But Microsoft would go on Monday, and then Sony would go on Tuesday, and then Nintendo went Wednesday. And all they did all day Tuesday before Sony went is they would show you the first party and third party, first party, second party, third party Microsoft games. Then Tuesday you would see Sony stuff, and then on Wednesday they do the same thing for Sony. And then Nintendo come out Wednesday, and Nintendo would, they would show you Nintendo stuff pretty much all day Wednesday. Then this is back when G4 was actually a real good television network, and you would hang out. I would crack a beer open or something like that. I'd watch Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb and Kevin Pereira and the rest of them. I think Olivia Munn was on there. I would watch that. That was kind of the wrap-up show on Thursday, and then Thursday and Friday were the wrap-up shows. And you spent the rest of the time going to GameStop or EB Games, whatever, and putting games on reserve, trying to figure out when the games would come out. One of the games that impressed me the most at E3 was Assassin's Creed. The first Assassin's Creed, seeing the gameplay, I was like, wow, you know, kind of looks like Oblivion. You know, it was Oblivionist at the time, and Oblivion at the time was the standard setting game for RPGs. And for me, because I was in the Xbox ecosystem, I had left the PlayStation ecosystem and got an Xbox, played Knights of the Old Republic, fell in love with Knights of the Old Republic. I didn't look back. I didn't look back. And yeah, I used to take, well, I would take at least 2 days off. I did it for Grand Theft Auto 4 as well. I remember declaring it Grand Theft Auto weekend when Grand Theft Auto 4 came out. And I remember going to GameStop and picking up the special edition or the limited edition. It was in a box, and it was like $120. But yeah, picking it up at midnight and getting home, and it came out it came out Monday night at midnight, and I was off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Took 2 days off to go home and play that game. Then a friend of mine got put in the hospital Tuesday night, and I spent all day Wednesday with her in the hospital. So didn't really play Grand Theft Auto till that weekend. What a day. All right, we're not here to talk about my past, but again, E3 canceled. It is coming back next year. Big games I remember the E3, the games that stand out to me. For Sony, it was Uncharted Part 2. That trailer that they had, that gameplay trailer for Part 2 was amazing. I remember seeing that and saying, oh my goodness. For Microsoft, the gameplay trailer for the first original Call of Duty, the first trailer they showed was the opening mission, the boat mission in the original Call of Duty. Go back to that original Call of Duty. That's what we saw. Them roping down, and because the only other military style game we had out at the time was Ghost Recon. What made Call of Duty stand out was that it was 60 frames per second, I believe. So the 2016 Sony's best for E3. Yeah, Sony very impressive. In 16, well, they're E3 where they unleashed the PS4. I remember being in school. I was out at school and I was watching it, and I still remember Sony coming out and saying our console is $399, and that was it. It was over. I remember going to Kmart. Now Kmart's closed now. They had a PS4 there on Wednesday. I'm like, it's here today. It'll be here on Friday. I remember saying that, and I went back on Friday and they didn't have them. And I was madder than a hornet because I remember the woman in Kmart did not know when they were coming back in. And this is when we ran into the shortage, and they didn't come back in until March. And it was either March or April of the next year. I still remember that GameStop employee. He's like, look, they're about to have a game called Infamous Second Son. He said, Sony's about to have Infamous Second Son, and it's 1080p, and they're promising all these big things with 1080p screens, so they got to get more of them out. And he was right. He was right. I remember walking in, and they had them in stock. They had about 100 in stock, and I remember went home, got rid of my 360, but that's a long time ago. All right, but you can see here we had the Microsoft deal with Blizzard. Is that deal in trouble? We'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about Sony's acquisitions and when they actually make their announcement. I've seen some other content creators just, if Jeff Grubb came out and said it was going to snow tomorrow, these guys would do a upload saying that, according to inside sources, Jeff Grubb. I mean, and the two guys, and again, this is no diss on these guys. And these are PlayStation guys. These are PlayStation Central channels I'm going to name you. And again, go sub to these guys. It's not like they have bad channels. They have huge channels, by the way. One of them is MBG, Muscle Brown Gamer, who does report rumors. And another guy is TCMF Tech. I think that's what he calls himself. This reports rumor after rumor after rumor. God love them. But they report a ton of rumors. So what we're going to look at with that will be the quarters, what the quarters are, what they do during those quarters, and then we're going to go down a list of the studios that Sony has purchased, when they purchased them, and then you'll be able to see a collation of why they purchased them. That's what you got to look at, is why they are announcing when they're announcing. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many rumors. It's ridiculous. I mean, something Miller, Greg Miller had to come out on his podcast the other day and apologize for saying a bunch of stuff. Again, Sony's big week was that Sony Bravia TVs got Dolby Sound or Dolby Atmos, whatever you want to call it, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos stuff. And so if you have a Bravia TV, that's good for you if you want to use it. We talked about this the other day. And the other big one was the rebranding of PlayStation Plus and how the Xbox community, shout out to Porter Rock, 60 frames no lag. Shout out to him. He brought up the fact, just asked a basic question, which is why is the Xbox community so upset with it? It was like, and like King Thrash had said, the Xbox community was upset that the Sony community wasn't upset with Sony for not doing day and date, which is something that we didn't like. So, you know, but we're going to look at it. Like I said, I have Game Pass and I'll be getting the PlayStation tier. You all saw the tier I'll be in, the second tier. I will look into the third tier, especially if they have Siphon filter and SOCOM and stuff like that. We'll just have to wait and see. Have they made improvements or not? I mean, these are just general questions I'm asking. What are they doing with the PlayStation collection? Talked about this the other day. So again, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not judging it. I'm not going to be mad either way, but I'm going to be in the $14.99 tier. I'm 96% sure that's the tier I'll be in. But who else we got in here that just came in? SIE, sup, what's happening? Lansville Paul, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Quanvo, always a pleasure. Salute, sir. Salute. Let's see here. What up, Paul Game? Shout out to Paul Game. How you doing, brother? So yeah, Sam Ash is right. The Uncharted 2 demo that Sony had, you can go look that up. The oohing and awing in the audience. I mean, it really blew me away because that's the first game I actually went into GameStop and said, will that game come out to the Xbox? And that's when that GameStop employee informed me of first party games like that. I didn't understand that at the time. He's like, no, it's a first party game. Sony owns that studio and Sony publishes their own games. So they probably won't have you get this. And I'm like, oh, okay. I just kind of went about myself. Harry Tron was happening. All right, so let's start with, if you all don't know, E3 has been canceled. It will be back next year. So, but we'll go ahead and start with the Microsoft deal. And is this deal in trouble? The answer is yes, it is. All kind of stuff is breaking, and what you have is some United States senators. Okay, this is not about anything else. There's some United States senators. Let's see. Activision had this kind of pulled here. And I'm pulling this from yesterday because I don't want to say, well, this is an April Fool's joke and ha 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 ho ho ho, you know. So let's see here. Then we're gonna go to CNET, and we're gonna go over here. Let me show you all what this deal is up against, so that you all won't think that I'm lying to you. But you can see right here, this is from yesterday, the senators urged FTC, that's the Federal Trade Commission, to review Microsoft's $68.7 billion deal for Activision Blizzard. So it says the 4 senators are concerned the deal could undermine calls for accountability at the video game giant. So these are U.S. senators that sit on committees, all right, that are preventing this from going through. And plus, to me, it should be Shift Plus. All right, and this was from yesterday. Okay, so this is not an April Fool's joke. Oh, I can't believe you're doing this. So, but it should have. Yeah. So here are your senators, and here's what they say. They say, we are deeply concerned about consolidation in the tech industry and its impact on workers. The letter says the letter was sent by Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts, Bernie Sanders from Vermont, Cory Booker from Jersey and Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island. So they said that the deal would make Microsoft the world's third largest video game maker and give it control over popular franchises like Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. Microsoft also pledged to clean up Activision Blizzard, which has a reputation for a toxic work culture. Again, that's just a reputation. Let me make this clear. That's what's there. This is what's being written. I'm not adding to this story. So it says it has faced allegations of harassment and discrimination. The deal already faces lawsuits from shareholders. All right. So look at this. On Wednesday, a judge approved an $18 million settlement between Activision Blizzard and the United States Equal Opportunity Employee, the EEOC. So it says the settlement. Oh my goodness. So, wow. The settlement ended a lawsuit filed by the EEOC in September that accused a video game company of violating the civil rights of employees by subjecting them to sexual harassment, pregnancy discrimination, and retaliation. Wow, if they could prove retaliation, that is big time. So says here Activision Blizzard on Thursday said Microsoft is supportive of its efforts to create an appropriate workplace. So again, let's start with this. All right. Is this in trouble? All right. Is this deal in trouble? The answer in the short term is yes. If you have the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, looking into your stuff, that's not what you want them to do. You just want them to say, it's okay. May not like it, but we don't want to sick the dogs loose in your house, because they will just piss and dump all over the floor, which is what they're going to do. So it does say that they will continue to make improvements and that Microsoft is committed to further progress after the deal closes. So, I mean, wow. So somebody asked me flat out, is this deal done? The answer is no. FTC can kill this deal just like that. All right, they can kill the deal. So as of right now, I do not look for this to go through at all in the short term. Let me make that clear. We're in Q2. So I don't think this is going to go through in Q2. I think it's going to still get approved, but we may have to wait until Q3 to get this done. So, but this is not good. And this deal is in trouble. And this is from CNET. This is not me trying to be a console warlord and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know how this calls for accountability over alleged misconduct. So again, and it is alleged. Let's make that clear. But you got to understand, we got people in your company and they're like, well, I should get that job. And the reason I didn't get it is because I'm a woman or because I am black or I'm gay. But they settle because they must have had something on that retaliation. So they don't want to go into open court with whatever they saw. Like, hey, look, we'll go to court, we'll go to a jury, and they may award $50 million. You never know with a jury what they're going to do. So, but wow. And, this could have been handled so much better. But I like the deal in a sense that this does help. This does help Game Pass as a service. It does help when you have Overwatch and Diablo and World of Warcraft and all that kind of stuff in one service, which is where it's going to go. Which is I'm playing Mass Effect right now through Game Pass. I had to go through some BS today. Couldn't get it to launch. Had to launch some type of cleanup on the cache thing for EA. Just a mess. I mean, it took an extra whole 5 minutes for me to do that. So, but I just couldn't jump in and play as my shepherd. So, but what do you all think about this deal about the FTC actually looking at it and possibly like, yeah, look, we're not doing this. As of right now, they're not doing it. They raising their eyebrows. They talking about it may not be happening. So. Biden can pressure on FTC to deny the acquisition. Well, that's a separate part of the government. Biden is the what? What branch is he? So you have an executive branch, right? You have a legislative branch. So Joe Biden is in the what? Executive branch. He can't do anything. I mean, it was the senators. You got 4 senators talking about, yeah, this is on some, y'all need to look into this. So, that's how you see he subscribed to him. Yeah, I'm subscribed to both of them. I mean, I'm not saying not to follow them. Okay, I am not saying that. I am saying that these guys do report heavy on rumors, and again, they're doing what their audience wants. What somebody actually said to me today in the direct message said, if I don't report the rumor, somebody else will, and then they'll get those clicks. It's like, yeah, damn. I mean, so that's what you're dealing with. So, so it's just, it is what it is. What's up, Sergeant 12? How you doing? So he got a cup of coffee. Oh my, oh my, oh my. How can Microsoft clean up Activision Blizzard when they can't? Oh, I don't know. That's the senators don't believe it. I mean, I think they're looking at the consolidation, being like, yeah, y'all gonna have way too much control. You know, so yeah, and I'm sub to him, Jeff. But once you see what Sony does and how they do it, and then you ask yourself why they do it like this, when we answer why it's like this, you will go ahead and see when you should start looking for Sony to announce stuff, because you'll see a clear correlation. You'll see it. You'll see it. Because I see it. I'm looking at it on paper. I'm like, yeah, you can clearly see what this is. So you hope they move Forspoken date up a bit. So the game looks ready. Oh yeah, let them take their time. They can always come to Sony and say we're ready, and it be August or something like that. I don't mind it coming out in the fall. It's just it's gonna come out after Madden and FIFA, and that's kind of where you want it. It's actually in a good spot. But you're right. Maybe they can move it to. I mean, you got Madden in September, then you have this game in October. Yeah. Destiny says they can't clean up their own studios. Well, again, with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, they're the ones who are sitting on this, and they're like, nah, we not gonna do this. We're not gonna look at this. So we're gonna, again, I think it's still gonna get approved. I just think it happens later down the road, maybe Q3, something like that, closer to the fall. Again, I just don't see it happening right now because there's just too much pushback, and they're talking about there's going to be an employee walkout. It's April Fool, so you can't believe anything that you see today. So that may not be true. So I'm going to caution everybody. Anything that was said today, this was bought. I woke up this morning and it said From Software had been bought. They're not. I don't know why people want them to buy From Software, but first of all, you're called From Software. Ugh. They had a chance to buy them years ago and they didn't. Just like they had a chance to buy Quantum Dreams and they didn't. So, I think they made a mistake with Quantum Dream. Supermassive can make those type of games. They've done it before. They don't make them as good. They don't. Let's go ahead and give Quantum Dream their flowers. They are the kings of making games like that. Supermassive is a distant second. Now, I think if Supermassive applies itself, because they're making an Until Dawn Part 2, if they apply themselves, you got some heavies in there. I think you can do it. Man, oh man. The Madden is August. Well, yeah, and so September is NBA 2K, Call of Duty November, Forspoken October. Yeah, I just think it's a good spot for that game. You know, you're coming out, and I don't think we're getting a. I mean, according to them, we're not getting a Call of Duty game in November. I thought they suspended it, or they said we weren't going to do it this year. So somebody can just look it up. But you can see the FTC and offices for the senators didn't respond to requests for comment. So pretty much they got asked questions and they said no comment. No comment. So well, I mean, again, QD, they got cleared of that though. David Cage got cleared. Again, you got to understand, women do know at this point that they don't have to bring evidence. They just have to say it happened. And that's why everything is so dangerous. That's why you got that MGTOW of men, that movement, or that lifestyle, I should say. That's why that is growing so fast, is because, you know, they don't have to bring evidence. You know, they just say something happened to them and it happened. You have to unprove it. Look at Deshaun Watson. Doesn't matter that a jury, I mean, this is a black man in Texas, and a jury did not, a grand jury was like, nah, there's no evidence here. You still got people saying, well, he did it. You know, you look at a Dallas Cowboy football player, Elliott, and that his last name, something Elliott. And he actually sent, his attorney got the cell phone messages, text messages from that woman saying, if you say this happened, it makes my story look more believable. Even though they know it was a lie. The police know it was a lie. The DA knows it's a lie. The NFL still suspended him for like 4 games. It was something like that, 4 or 5 games they suspended him for, even though they know it's a lie. So, it is what it is. So, it is what it sucks. It sucks at this point. So, but anyway, we're getting back into it. So we'll get to the main one here. But what do you all think about this? I still think this deal goes through, but it's just going to go through later this year, and then it will be finished in 2023. I still think it gets done. I just think it gets done later this year, I should say. And that means later into 2023. Gotta wait and see, though. Gotta wait and see. So, but this is not good when you have employees and shareholders wanting him to resign, the president to resign, the CEO, I'm sorry, to resign. Yeah, that don't look too good for you. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not here to say whether he's innocent or guilty, but it's not a good look when you got people suing you and things like that. So, it sucks. Sucks to suck. But as Luca would say, shout out to Ash and Luca. And yeah, if they got games you don't want to play because that's fine, but that still doesn't change the fact that that's a big get. When you're trying to put a service out there, you gotta have content. That's it. Content is king. So you don't have to like it though. I understand. So any hint of an issue, Sony will distance themselves from the problem. Yeah, and you gotta remember, David Cage shopped all his games to Microsoft first. He shopped Heavy Rain to them first. And they turned it down and said it was too adult. They didn't think it would. Microsoft was billing themselves as a family company and all that kind of stuff. So, you got to remember that. And so they didn't want the game. So he went to Sony, and Sony was like, yeah, go ahead and make, I guess, Heavy Rain, and which I have not played. My friend Herman, shout out to him. He swears by that game. Him and his wife love that game. So they both played it. They both were trying to solve whatever was happening in that game. I haven't played Heavy Rain. I tried Beyond Two Souls, and I was only able to stand it for like 45 minutes, and I didn't like it. So Sam says that he wants the Xbox community to lose it. That's why you want them to kill the deal. Oh, that's just being mean. So I can imagine what that would be like if the deal got killed, though. Yeah, you have a lot of sad people. It's like you got all that ray tracing. Ray tracing is not going to be on Minecraft, and so so I guess they had a demo with ray tracing, and whatever the actual game is, they're not doing it. They're not doing ray tracing for Minecraft. So, and these guys are pulling tweets from Tim Dog and Dealer Gaming and all these people, from 2 years ago, or I'm like, golly, that didn't sit well, So, how can Microsoft change them from within? I mean, again, your problem at Activision is literally they try to put a woman in charge, and the guys get pissed off, and then they try to put another man in charge, and the women leave. So, this at some point you got to cut your losses and just say, here's the person that's in charge. Remember, they tried to bully that vote. They tried to bully the vote. And they tried to debo that vote through, and it didn't work. They're like, nah, we suing because this helps you guys at the top. When you get this number of $95 per, which, I mean, at the time, I think they had dropped down to like $78. And then they asked them for that much money. Okay, fine. They give it to them. And they're like, well, this helps you cats up top, but this ain't helping me. This does not help me. You're here for the effort. Oh, okay, I'm not denying it. So, So yeah, I mean, those guys just. I mean, again, I don't know what they thought was going to happen. I always say, for a group of guys that build PCs like they claim they do, why do you all wait for benchmarks? I have no idea. None whatsoever. So, I mean, that man said heavy rain is fire. Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to say it's not. That Beyond Two Souls, however, I didn't like it. And I tried it. I actually was trying to understand it. I didn't care for it. Maybe I'll try it again because it's part of. I have that game. It's in there. So, so hit that like button, people. Come on, support the podcast. Donate a like. Donate a like. That's all I'm asking. So, now in August when it's my birthday and I'm trying to get the GPU, I'll be asking for the donation of a like and my flowers. Give me my flowers. So, do you like Beyond Two? So, yeah, again, it wasn't for me. Now, Detroit Become Human, loved it. Loved it. Loved it. So, we'll play that again probably because it has like a gazillion different ways to play. So I may end up downloading that again. That's on the PlayStation Plus collection. I couldn't believe what the damn game looked like when I loaded it. I played the demo. The game recognized I had played the demo. I'm like, oh my God, it actually does look like this, So, but yeah, pretty crazy, pretty crazy. But yeah, we'll get back into it here. Yeah, Detroit to me, that year was it 2018. That was my game of the year. It didn't even get nominated. That's why I'm like, well, fine, God of War won, but all this is subjective because my game of the year was Detroit Become Human. I mean, to me, it wasn't even close, but hey, that game dealt with some themes, man. I mean, it was heavy on the heart. I ain't gonna lie about that. But all right, let's look at what Sony does with their acquisitions and how they actually face them out. So let me go. There it is. Okay. So first things first, this is from Indeed. If you all uploaded resumes and stuff, I use Indeed. You can use what you want. I just pulled this off of Indeed. So here, let me go to the actual page. Okay. So this is the quarters. There's the business. Businesses are generally running quarters. Some do annually. I mean, that's perfectly fine. Some may even do monthly. But it says here, running your business, and we're just going to talk about it. This is from over a year ago almost. So it says, running your business in fiscal quarters can make it easier to evaluate the performance of your business year after year. This article, we discuss what the quarters are, why they're important, and why companies report quarterly. I don't know if you have stock or you have shares somewhere, you will always hear them say, Disney's report is tomorrow morning. They're going to have their shareholders report. They'll say something like Oracle's going to have their report tomorrow out by 11 a.m. And basically the market gets indicators whether they're going to report in just what they said, because the trading is done pretty much a lot of trading is done based on based on futures. Okay. So it's like, okay, this company is supposed to make umpteen $billion this quarter. You trade, the stock gets evaluated based on that, and then you start trading. Now, if you come in right at it, you're going to get a good report. Their trading will be in the green for your company. If you come in above, you'll hear it. They thought they were going to get this, and they came in 3% higher, 4% higher, and then their stock rallies. You all these people on the floor throwing papers up in the air. You got to get into this stock. Put your money here. So just think, again, I'm not a stockbroker. I'm just giving you a general overview of what is going on when these businesses report. So what are the fiscal quarters? And it says they are consecutively 3-month periods on a company's financial calendar used as basis for financial reporting and dividend payments. Again, a perfect example, that buyout that Microsoft is going to get at $95, that improves somebody's bottom line right there. So And what those people are saying at that company, at Activision, is they're saying, well, that's good for shareholders, but what about me? I don't have no stock. You know, and you see, that's why Sony, when they bought Bungie, it's like, we got to spend this much money to keep the people there. Because these people got stock options. If they leave, and then they're going to pull their stock out. And then the company starts doing what? It starts losing value. And then we start losing money. Sony would start losing money overall, because now, instead of them adding to their company and making it bigger, you know, they're going to start contracting. Remember when the report came out that Call of Duty was leaving, going to Microsoft? They lost $20 billion or 18, something like that, even though that's not real money. Okay, that's just money on paper. But again, we're not going to get into all that. Okay, so what are the fiscal quarters? So there you have Q1, Q2, 3, and 4, respectively. Now, here is the calendar. This is the traditional calendar. Q1, January 1 through the 31st. So what just happened was Q1 just ended. Now, let's start looking at Sony and the way they buy things. When did Sony purchase Insomniac Games in 2019? What month did Sony use? Does anybody know? Does anybody remember? What's up, J-Roll the man? Again, what month did Sony buy? What quarter did they buy Insomniac in? They buy them Q1, 2, 3, or 4. Does somebody guess? Let's see who's paying attention. Because when you start seeing this line up, you won't have to worry about what Jeff Grubb and what Greg Miller and what Jeff Keighley said. So that would be Q4. No, December is Q4. They bought Insomniac Games in August. So they bought Insomniac Games in Q3. Why did they buy them in August? Because that adds to the end of the Q3 report in September. Do you see how that collates? Because in September of 19, Sony's stock went up. You can go check that out. Because they added to their company. But my point to you is that they bought that in Q3. And they started talking about it when they reported at the end of September. When they did their call, and you know, when they did their call mid-October, whenever they did their dividend, whenever they did their call to shareholders, they were like, we added Insomniac Games in Q3 to our company. So they did this in August. So let's move on. Let's say, okay, how about the latest one they did, which was Haven? When did they buy Haven Studio? What month did Sony buy Haven? March, right? Look at where March falls. March falls at the end of Q1. So now they can report, we added a company in Q1. All right? We added one company in Q1. I believe they bought Haven, about a week and a half ago, give or take? So, yeah, and they bought them in March of Q1. That's very important because now they come rolling into April. They open up Q2. Bam, we got we bought a studio. Okay? They have bought 2 studios in the first quarter of this year, because when did they buy Bungie? When did they announce they bought Bungie? What quarter? Q1. So in the first quarter of this year alone, Sony has bought 2 studios. So they're on pace. If they keep that up, they will buy 2, 4, 6, 8 studios this year. That's if they're on pace to. So why do you always hear about the rumors of companies buying stuff at the end, towards the end of their quarters, so that they can add? So we're in April at this point. Today's April. We're in Q2. We just opened Q2. Sony may say April 3rd. You know, let's just say Sony says April 3rd, beginning of our Q2. So you can. This is why all of a sudden you're hearing about another acquisition. That's why. Okay. When did they buy Housemarque Games? Or is it Housemarque? Is it Housemarque Games or just Housemarque? When did Sony buy Housemarque? What quarter? And then what month in that quarter? To see Q3 is a pretty long. Okay, they bought Housemarque in June. Look at where June falls, at the end of Q2. That's so that way they can roll into Q3. With an addition. That's the way it's done. Okay? That's the way this is done. So you all don't get caught up in when you see people doing the rumors, because it's like, well, yeah, Sony generally announce. You can clearly see when they're announcing when they buy stuff. And now here's why they do it. And Sony is not the only group that does this. A lot of companies do this. So Housemarque was bought in June. Oh my goodness, into Q2. So they roll into the summer now. So with that, when did they buy Bluepoint? What quarter did they buy Bluepoint? You should be able to guess this by now. When did they buy Bluepoint? Those aren't Sony's quarters. Well, but this is generally what we're looking at here. They have yeah, no, you're right about that. All right, well, you said year from April 31st till March. Well, let's pull that up here. Let's pull that up. They bought Bluepoint in September. Look where that ends. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean they could have bought Bluepoint months ago, but months before they announced it. So let's see here. Let's see if we can just pull up. Let me see if I can just pull up Sony's quarters. Let me look in. Their third quarter. Yeah, their third quarter ends in December. So that's Q4 for most. But that's for Sony. You're right. Let's recalculate this here. But I'm just using this here. But we can go back and look at theirs again. Let me see. Are you talking about that? Or are you talking about their earnings? Let's see. Sony right now is in Q3. Actually, that's pretty good. So they're in Q3, according to this. But this is their earnings stuff. So we'll just use this one. Take up. There we go. So where were we at? Bluepoint was September. Boom, September, Q3. Again, this is we're just going by the fiscal quarters that are on Indeed. You look, I can upload my resume. Now you're looking at pay periods. That is different. Okay, that is different for a payment period. So let me make that clear. We're doing the traditional fiscal yearly quarters. Payment periods are different. That out there. Okay. So, but again, how about Firesprite? When did they get Firesprite? Did they get them in Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4? When did they announce they bought Firesprite? How about Sony? Yeah. When did they announce it? Because it was in one of those quarters, and I guarantee it was at the end of one of those months. So, and again, we're just looking at the basic quarters. These are the traditional quarters. Q3, correct. You see that September is when they bought them. Okay, and boom, Q3. Let me make this clear, according to the traditional months. Okay? But you can see why you're hearing rumors all of a sudden. Everything collates to these quarters. It is what it is. Now you're right, Japanese companies report differently, but you're going to see the same type of collation. So how about Nix's studio? How about Nix's? Was that Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4 according to the traditional model? I'm going to keep caveating that for you. Yep, September is Q3. So matter of fact, it's the last month. So again, they go rolling into Q4 according to this calendar. So what about Knicks' studio? How about Knicks'? Knicks' was July. Wow, look at that. Q3 beginning July. This should all start making sense. And so now, according to the traditional model, we're in Q2. Now you're hearing about a giant acquisition, right? That's what you're hearing. That's what you're hearing. But that's why. It's like, well, how come this just comes up all of a sudden? It's not. It's just this is when they generally make their announcement. This is when they make their announcement. So, I'm talking about. We're going by the traditional calendar. I totally right about them using a different type of dividend quarter. You're right, 100%. You're 100% correct. I'm looking at the traditional model. This is so that people will stop getting wrapped up on who's buying what. I'll be honest with you. I'm tired of people emailing me about who they bought. Okay, they've made their decisions. They've pulled the trigger. I've got 2 studios down, but we'll have to wait and see how that rolls. So, same person that told me about Bungie told me about this. So I'm just kind of like, well, that's why when I saw the From Software thing, I just started laughing. When you look at what they generally do and how they pull the trigger, ask yourself some questions. Ask yourself, do you think it's time for Sony to go away from the traditional way they buy studios? See, I don't. But if you say yes, I think Sony may buy a developer / publisher. Who would that be then? Look at how they buy things. I think they should buy Ember Labs. I've said that 100,000 times. Ember Labs has what, 5 people working there? You can buy them. You know, the Knicks' was July. So according to the traditional model, but you see where it happens. It happens, they pulled the trigger twice in this quarter. Now this may be their Q4, the way they do things, but it's still the end of their quarter. But again, we're just looking at the traditional model, and let me caveat that. Let me caveat that for you. But hopefully you all can see the collation of when things are bought versus when you all start hearing rumors. Jeff Grubb and them know exactly when to start asking, is there something happening? That's how they get the information. Do you think that's a coincidence that you start hearing about companies buying things at the beginning or the end of a quarter? You see, that's because they want to go ahead and add volume and add money to their, to what's going on. I mean, the rumor alone of them buying something can add more to their stock. I mean, that's the way the market works. Oh, they're going to buy something. They're going to expand. Let's put some money in there. What is Sony stock today? Pull that. Drop this. My stock there. I hope you have stock in Sony and in Microsoft. Your stock closed. Hey, wow. Remember how much it took a plunge? Wow. Wow. Look at that. Oh, man, let me put this on the screen. I'm sorry. My bad. That's their stock closing today. Damn it. Pressing the wrong friggin' button. There, look at that. They closed pretty strong. So look at that. So it started up here. Now, 102.92. I remember that this used to be junk. The lowest it's been so far within a year is $91.74. So, and it's been higher, but it's starting to rebound. So again, I'm just putting that out there. They're worth 81.38 billion, or let's just round that up to 81.4. So this is interesting. So new PS Plus is welcome and should improve revenue. There you go. Of course, they were going to finish in the green. They got a new subscription service, or they have a rebrand. So again, you should have stock in this. I assume you do. I mean, I do. If it's in this house, I got stock in that company. So if it's possible. Really interesting that Sony did executive appointments at the end of the last month, and today they established. Okay, yeah. Okay, now I did not see that, so shout out to that. Yeah, Arsenic said that those are not their quarters. Yeah, that's true. Got 11 to 12 shares. Hey, you did pretty good. Up, Will Garvin. That like button, people. You should try to have something in what you have in your house. So I have stock in Samsung, Sony, AMD. I have an AMD console and I have an AMD PC. You should have stock in Microsoft too. I mean, you should have it. I mean, whatever you got, you should have stock if it's possible. And again, we were looking at let me make this clear. We were just looking at the traditional quarters, and I thought it was amazing on how everything lined up based on those traditional quarters. So remember, there's always reasons why you hear things like this. We're at the beginning of a new quarter, so of course there's a bunch of rumors. Now they're talking about another state of play. Even though Sony didn't announce nothing. So the rumor is new state of play. They're going to show this, they're going to show that. So we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. But guys, that is all I had for you. I mean, it's Friday night. Y'all are hanging out with an old man. That's shout out to you all for doing that though. I appreciate it. Make me feel better. Help stroke my ego. I'm just looking here for any more questions. I did see Morbius. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was horrible. I thought it was okay. For me, it's a matinee movie. So that means for me personally, if I recommend a matinee movie, that means if it's a matinee movie, that means that if you pay full price after 6 o'clock, you may be a little bit upset. So they may be a little bit upset. So, what company did I hear? A hint. It is a company that makes sense with what they're doing. They already have a good relationship with them. So that's what I have written down. So, and again, they may not pull the trigger on it. This may not be 100% accurate. That's why I don't run around talking about it. So I'm just kind of like, but the same person that told me about Bungie told me about this one. So, I'll just simply say there were some clues in the last state of play. I mean, that's what I've got written down. Heavy clues in the last state of play. What else do I want to talk about? What is going on with Project Eve? I'm trying to find out some information on Project Eve. That game they showed at the state of Sony, whatever. They showed KOTOR and Borderlands and Forspoken and all that kind of stuff. So again, hit that like button, people. Make sure you go ahead and hug your kids tonight. Also, keep Slow Mo in your prayers. He lost a friend of his that he'd known since high school. And let's keep Slow Mo and his family in your prayers. He's mourning that loss. So, because and it's never. I work in the healthcare field. It is no fun to give that kind of information out. We lost a patient the other day, and it's tough. It's tough to see it. People going in there and checking the pulse, checking breathing sounds, and we're kind of you get to a point where you should never get to a point where that's easy. If that gets easy, then you got to get out. That's when you're burnt out in healthcare. You're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's just another DB. That's somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's wife, husband, son, daughter, So that's when we know to get out, when it starts getting too easy. That's not when it's hard, it's supposed to be hard. But when you see death and you constantly feel it in the room, it will wear you out. It'll wear you down. But guys, I'm ending it on a good note. So let's go ahead and play whatever you want to play this weekend. Have fun. I got to work tomorrow, so no games for me. And again, who do I have in the Final Four? I've got Kansas in the first game. And that second game I stayed away from. It was just too hard. It's Duke, North Carolina, part 3. It is going to be the one above all. I mean, that's all I can say. It's like in the Marvel universe, it's the one above all. That is like the god of it. Who's the most powerful being? People are like, who's Thanos? No, there's a being called the one above all. That's their name. So yeah, China Hero Project. Yeah, I'd like to see some more stuff, but Project Eve is what I'm really looking forward to. That was the game that kind of surprised everybody at that. So guys, I'm gonna get on off here. I appreciate you. Like I said, it's almost 8 o'clock, so I'm gonna finish watching Star Trek Picard. Then I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed. So I will talk to you all later. You all have a good, blessed weekend. Stay frosty. Peace out.